Hi, it's Paul Feuerstein, Technology Editor of Dentistry Today, and I have a lot of excitement going on right next to me over here. I have a good old friend and a new friend, Avi Kopelman. Avi, good to see you again. We'll tell you who Avi is in a few seconds. Stephenie Goddard, how are you?
Great, thanks for having us.
So Stephenie works with Glidewell Corporation, Glidewell Dental Laboratory, and Avi, we've known each other for about almost 20 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
In the infancy of CAD/CAM and the infancy of digital impression scanning. So way back, Avi, you were with a company called Cadent, if I recall.
This is true.
And they were the first digital models I think we ever had. And we went through parallel paths, and we developed a couple of intraoral scanners, and you came up with the iTero.
Right.
And the iTero has gone through several evolutions. And initially it was a scanner, per se, it's just an impression scanner. I shouldn't say just an impression scanner.
Yeah.
And you had some very clever little things that you did with the laboratory also. And then all of a sudden, the laboratory became very important. So we were able to export images, STL files to laboratories like Glidewell. And then there's been a big push, for some reason, I can't explain it, that people want to have instant everything, instant gratification, instant dentistry. So why don't you talk about this, what's going on to make this all happen?
So, just one comment. The interesting part about iTero is that we really started with a scanner that has a workflow. So from day one, we really connected the scanner to the lab, and we introduced the scanner with a workflow that starts with scanning, milling the model, interpretation, marking the margin line, and bringing the lab into the loop. And this was really the beginning of iTero.
And then all of a sudden we had Sirona with the CEREC, and the E4D came out, and everybody said, oh, we can do all this in one thing. But as things have evolved, it's almost like an old stereo system all of a sudden. You can start putting components together. We can get a mill, we can get some software, we can get the scanner. And so Glidewell comes in the middle of this whole process, and I'll just explain what's going on.
I don't know if we came in the middle, but
Yeah. You sit in the middle.
But yeah, I think, when we started, we've been working with Align for years. We've had a good relationship and a good partnership, and actually it was Chicago Midwinter last year where we started talking about, can we connect two great powerhouses together to come up with a solution that works for dentists chairside. So we highlighted our mill last year, and we started talking to Align right after Chicago Midwinter last year, and the thinking behind it was, how do you take the best scanner out there on the market, right? Full service scanner out there on the market, and can you pair it with a dental lab who's not just a dental lab anymore, who really is a medical device manufacturer?
And also, certainly in the forefront of digital dentistry. There's no question about it. What Jim Glidewell has done is just astonishing.
Absolutely. I mean, in our lab, we receive thousands of intraoral scans a month from every intraoral scanner out on the marketplace. And what we found is that versus a traditional impression, if a doctor sends us an iTero scan, they have a 17% decrease in remakes by sending an iTero scan versus a traditional impression. So we developed the design software internally. We do millions of crowns digitally every year in our lab. So we have software developers who work with all of those crowns that we manufacture. We developed the design software in-house, and it's the software that we use every day to manufacture crowns for dentists.
Right. And I've seen the software, and it reminds me of a fingerprint search where you have a certain prep and you have a certain situation, and it goes through hundreds of thousands of different configurations and comes up, bang, this is the closest one. Because you've seen hundreds of thousands and probably millions of restorations.
And one of the things that we really loved is the fact that this milling machine has so much miles in real everyday production. And the same goes with the software. So it's really a connection between two leading products that together make a very appealing solution.
But again, it goes back to the workflow of the dentist in the dentist office, where traditionally I want to take an impression, I want to design something or have somebody design for me and get a result back. So with this process, you have two options now too. You certainly have both options that you can do in office now, as other companies are trying to doing. But you can also do the export and do the design, send it back. So there's a lot of interesting things that are happening here. And I think it's a very interesting merger of these particular companies.
And really the know-how of a good crown design takes many years of know-how. It's not a game. It's not just a look of the crown.
I mean, I'll get in trouble for saying this to my peers, but I have friends who've been using Syrup for a long time. They do several hundred crowns. I have laboratory friends who've done several thousand crowns. I want to send my stuff to the guy that's done several thousand crowns. However, with the backbone of Glidewell, who's done several million crowns behind the whole thing, this thing might work very well.
And by the way, the same goes for Invisalign. Invisalign did well over 5 million cases.
Oh, sure.
And it's the same knowledge system that will do the next million and 10 million.
One of the things that the doctors who are watching should understand also is that when you send a scan, an iTero scan, for example, to Invisalign for your aligners, they come out so much better.
Yeah.
The gingival contours are much better. Everything's much better. They fit better. The cases probably go much faster. I'm trying to say much faster, but certainly much more predictably. And that's been a big thing also. Was it? I'm just curious though. How did this whole, other than what you just said, how did this whole relationship come together?
With Glidewell?
Yeah.
I think it was Avi who started this.
So my first meeting with the Glidewell team was about 18 years ago. About 12 years ago, I had a nice lunch with Jim Glidewell, and we really understood each other. And I can tell you that back then, Jim had the vision of wherever there is a crown made, I will be there.
Yeah.
And it is happening now. And that's interesting. In dentistry, things take time. And we had the patient and the stamina, and we got to this point together now.
And so, have we branded this as a new system of some sort? Is there a brand name to the whole system at this point?
So the way that we've branded it is the Glidewell.io. So .io meaning in office, solution, and it's paired with iTero. So that is our scanner of choice for this system. And the thing that I think that we've done that's a little bit unique is, you were talking about doctors who are milling crowns chairside. It's a big investment to get into something like this. And we've priced it in the marketplace so that the dentist isn't sitting there saying, I have to mill every crown chairside in order to pay this off, in order to get a return on my investment. I can do Invisalign, I can do aligners, I can mill my crown chairside, but I can also, if I choose to, send it to my lab. So we've got that interconnectivity in our system between the Glidewell.io system and Glidewell Laboratories. So in sense, the Glidewell Lab is in your office, whether it's chairside or whether you send to the lab directly.
And just briefly before we cut, tell me a little bit about the new mill. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot to tell. I know.
There's a lot to tell. So the new mill is really the only mill out there on the market that mills fully sintered Bruxer zirconia. So that means there's no post-processing. It comes out of the mill. You can buff it and seed it. You don't have to stain and glaze. You can if you want to. So it's really the biggest technology in that mill. It mills it in 40 minutes, which is unbelievable. And again, no oven after that. The system comes with all of Glidewell's materials in its bag. So you've got Bruxer, you have a lithium silicate, which is called Obsidian, you have a nano resin hybrid, which is called Camouflage Now, and then we have a Biotemps PMMA material. And the nice thing about what we have to offer is those products are all developed also in-house in Glidewell based on our experience with the crowns that we get, and then we can create materials for the doctor.
And I think people don't understand that Glidewell's not just a dental laboratory. It's way beyond a dental laboratory.
Yeah.
And let me give you my perspective.
Sure.
The crown is a combination of good prep, good scan, good materials, good milling strategy, and good outcome. And here, all the pieces are done by us beside the prep of the tooth. But it's crucial, if you want to have a good crown, to have full control over all those pieces. And here, between the two companies, we bring all the pieces to one place.
That's great. And let's just talk quickly about a crystal ball here, because we're at dental meetings and I keep hearing this thing in my ear. What about 3D printing? What about 3D printing? So I know it's not ready for mainstream yet for crown and bridge, but it's out there for certain things. And obviously we can use the same workflow design. We design the retainers. Someday we'll be doing aligners. We'll be printing aligners. Who knows? So I think there's a lot to be seen out here.
And behind the wall there is a printing machine here now.
I know that we're starting to look into that Mr. Glidewell is he's looking all over. He knows what he's doing.
So we are highlighting a 3D printer here as an extension to the Glidewell.io family or suite. The intention is to do things like print models or to print, 3-unit temporary bridges, chairside. Doctors want 3D printers. This one's a little bit unique in that it takes away a lot of the post-processing steps that have to happen in 3D printers today.
I looked at it and it looks like a little car wash.
It does. It does. It's not ready for prime
Right.
time, but it's something we definitely recognize as something that dentists want and something that we need to add on to the extension in the family.
It's the vision of this company. So the company, Glidewell, what is the website of Glidewell?
What is the what?
The website, the web address of Glidewell.
www.glidewelldental.com.
Okay, Glidewell.com. So there's a lot of information sitting out there. And any last words, Avi?
If we talk about printing, Invisalign is probably the biggest printing company in dental by
absolutely.
far. And when printing will be relevant, we will print.
Yeah, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. So it's very, very interesting. You have to get down to some dental show, go online, go to glidewelldental.com, learn about this. If you don't know about it, there's a lot to know. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Paul.